So for the last couple of years, my creative practice has really been all about repurposing and mending. That's actually a Japanese aesthetic called Boro. And Boro, the word, means rags. So I really do feel like we have enough stuff on this planet, and to be able to use the resources that Goodwill provides. In my creative practice, I haven't bought any new material in over a year for myself, for my clothing. I don't buy new material to use in my creative process. And when I knew about the art of Goodwill and everything that entailed, I knew that I wanted to use it as a statement of my stance in the slow fashion movement and to make it real. To be honest, I'm a real textile geek. I learned to quilt when I was really young. My grandmother taught me. From there I went to school at Berea College and learned to weave. So it's like, for textile artists, it's like each different technique is a notch on your belt. You know, what are you going to learn to do next? So I went back to making quilts when I graduated, when I got my MFA. And then what did I do? I went straight into the corporate world, and I worked for museums, and I helped them preserve and protect their textile collections. That seemed like a natural fit, but it wasn't terribly creative. And you know, when you're creative, it's always at your core. You're never going to get away from that. As my children got older and I had more time to focus on my own creative practice again, I started seeing that real connection between the handmade and preserving integrity of cloth. You know, the skills I use to restore and conserve. I've worked on Tecumseh's battle flag. I've worked on death mask on mummies. I've worked on Old Glory at the Smithsonian. And so to take those skills that I learned in graduate school and apply them in a very technical and practical way was kind of my freedom, my allowing myself to think about doing that every day. I feel like I've taken mending beyond the mundane and made it something extraordinary, in that it's a creative process. You can mend a sock, you can darn it, but you can do that in a lot of different ways to really show what your inner creative voice is saying. So, for me, it's been a long process, but it kind of is all just lining up. You know, it's all making sense, that all these things I've done, these steps along the way, have come together. And I'm not just saying this, but really the art of Goodwill has been part of that glue of helping me understand where I fit in that big scheme of the process.